It's Thursday, the 9th of April, across Greater Manchester. This is Channel M's Lunchtime News, and these are today's headlines. Britain's top anti-terror officer quits after flashing top-secret papers that sparked a series of raids here in Manchester.
People are frightened. They don't know what exactly is happening. The scenes they have seen really reassure them that we're all working together. We need to get to the bottom of it.
Also coming up, a Channel M exclusive. We speak to a doctor cleared of sexually abusing patients at an abortion clinic.
It's still sinking in, actually, because after having lived like this for 1 year, my dreams and nightmares are still going on.
And jetting off for Easter, the bank holiday getaway begins.
And I think people this Easter, they'll see just how easy it is to get through some of our terminals.
Good afternoon. The anti-terror officer whose gaffe led to a series of anti-terror raids across Greater Manchester has resigned. Assistant Commissioner Bob Quick was caught on camera arriving at Downing Street yesterday morning, carrying papers marked secret, clearly visible to anyone watching. The notes detailed senior officers, locations and details of the overseas threat facing the country. Within hours, hundreds of armed officers moved in on addresses in Cheetham Hill and across the northwest. We've got a series of reports on this. First, Beverly Walkden on how the operation unfolded.
The raids began yesterday when 8 premises were searched by several hundred armed officers from 3 police forces. 3 of the raids happened here in Cheetham Hill. 2 men were arrested at this house on Galsworthy Avenue, and a further 2 men were arrested at this Cybernet cafe less than a mile away on Cheetham Hill Road. Another address on Esmond Road was raided, but no one was arrested.
In guns, they've come with truncheons, they've come with barricades, and seen all the streets blocked off with professional police vehicles.
This raid on Galsworthy Avenue in Cheetham Hill at about 4:30 p.m. yesterday was caught by a local photographer. It shows the moments before armed officers burst into the house. Residents say during the operation they were left very frightened. They were told to stay indoors for up to an hour while armed officers raided this house behind me. But now they're on the streets swapping stories about who and why these men were taken away on suspicion of terrorism offences.
We were in the upper room when we saw the police. They were
scared about that.
They were scared, and we looked at the back, and they were at the back as well.
As far as I'm aware, they're nice people, decent people. Like, they never said anything to anybody. Me and my daughter plays out. The children play out all the time.
As a community, we all mixing together. They were just a bit different to us. They kept themselves to themselves, really. So
they never used to cause any noise. And no loud I don't think they've even got a TV in there, so there's no music, no TV, no nothing, and quiet. But sometimes when they all used to be together, they used to talk really loud. But I never used to understand them because I don't think they used to talk in Urdu, Punjabi, which is like my language. They used to talk in another language.
I do understand they've been attending one of the local mosques here, and I also understand they've not been here long, apparently about 2.5 months. Well, I think it's a reassurance message, isn't it? People are frightened. They don't know what exactly is happening. The scenes they have seen really reassure them that we're all working together. We need to get to the bottom of it. And if any of them can assist in any way, if anything they know, they should fully cooperate with the police. And we will get to the bottom.
Beverly Walkden for Channel M News.
Well, in a statement, Bob Quick says he deeply regretted jeopardising the security operation, which meant these raids were brought forward. He's also thanked colleagues for adapting quickly to a revised timescale. 12 men are this lunchtime being questioned, and the searches are still ongoing. Our reporter Kevin Duffy now looks at how Cheetham Hill's reacting the day after the night before.
So far, there has been no explosion, but there are victims already as this terrorism investigation continues. Businessman Nasrullah Khan is furious that his property and his business premises were raided overnight.
Mr. Khan, do you feel your reputation is being affected?
It is my reputation. I'll be honest with you, I'm more worried for that. I've been here living 30 years in this country.
Are you a respectable businessman?
I am respectable. I have here a business in nearly 20 years. And I work all the time. People know who I am.
Do you think you've been treated badly by the police?
It is, because in the morning I asked them, can I open my office? They said, you can't open the office.
Obviously, there is a high degree of concern amongst people living on this road, and so police have been delivering this letter to everybody's house. Now, it explains that there have been some arrests as part of an investigation into terrorism, and that some properties are being searched. The letter says the searches may well last several days. It apologises for the inconvenience, but it asks people to bear with police while that investigation continues. Amid much speculation over possible targets, the Trafford Centre, a city centre nightclub, the Birdcage, and the Printworks have been mentioned. However, Channel M understands from security sources that all three have been ruled out as possible targets at this stage. Kevin Duffy for Channel M News.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, the most senior anti-terror officer here in Greater Manchester has put out a statement appealing for calm in the areas this operation's been taking place. Detective Chief Superintendent Tony Porter says, "We understand that this kind of police activity can cause concern to people living in nearby communities, and we have ensured that they will be able to discuss issues or concerns linked to the operation with local officers who are providing a high-level presence." The Home Secretary, Jackie Smith, has also praised the teams involved, saying they are to be commended for the professional manner in which they conducted this operation. "We face a severe terrorist threat in this country, and we are all very well served by our police and security services, all of whom do an excellent job to keep us safe." Well, joining us now to talk more about this is Mohammed Shafiq from the leading Muslim youth organisation, the Ramadan Foundation. Mohammed, good afternoon. First of all, what do you know about exactly what happened yesterday?
Obviously, there's a series of arrests. I would express some real caution. You know, that there are arrests. We've had numerous occasions where arrests have happened in the past and people have been proven to be innocent. So it's too early to speculate. I think the police should be allowed to get on with their investigation. And if people are found to be involved with preparing terrorism in this country, then I'm sure the legal system will do justice to them. And the second thing, which is what I called for last night on my news interviews, which was for the resignation of Bob Quick. So I'm glad that he's done the honourable thing and resigned.
What's the mood on the streets like today?
Anxious, concerned, and obviously deeply worried about the impact this may have in terms of community relations. And there are people on the margins of society, like the BNP and the far right, that will try to get political capital out of that. And it's so important that during these difficult hours that we come together as a community and as a city.
Are you able to shed any more light on what we know about the people who have been arrested?
We know that the students, they lived in Cheetham Hill, and they went to the local mosque, Kisra Mosque in Cheetham Hill, and you know, I spoke to the next door neighbour. He doesn't recall anything remotely criminal in their behaviour. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But absolutely credit to the police for what they're doing. The threat from terrorism is real, and there's no hiding away from that. And we've just got to be very careful in that we don't start demonising communities.
And we've already had Bob Quick's resignation. Where do you think this leaves Jackie Smith?
I think her position is closer. I mean, you know, I had talking to somebody yesterday who was saying that, you know, it's trying to divert attention away from her problems. But I think she's deeply wounded. But I don't think at this stage, you know, in relation to this particular incident, that her position is pretty safe.
OK, Mohammed Shafiq from the Ramadan Foundation, thank you very much for joining us this lunchtime. Next, an exclusive here on Channel M News. A doctor who's been cleared of sexually abusing patients at an abortion clinic in Manchester has given us his only TV interview. Dr Narendra Sharma had been accused of using the hands of sedated women to perform obscene acts on himself at the Mary Stopes International, but throughout the trial he's maintained that the claims were the result of racist bullying at his former workplace. He's been speaking to Georgia Calvin-Smith.
Initially I was annoyed, I was stressed, anxious, and then I started going into depression. I didn't realize this. My wife, who's also a doctor, she took me to a psychiatrist who initially counseled me and then put me on antidepressants. I've been taking these antidepressants which have helped me. I know that people who know me well and who supported me all through, they believed in me, but a lot of people wouldn't have believed in me, people who just know me as a person or seen my photographs. I've been ridiculed in public. I've been made fun of. People have threatened me in the toilet, in the court.
You must have been pretty pleased when somebody came forward and provided you with the evidence needed to clear your name.
Yes, this happened all of a sudden at the end of day 2, when my solicitor came and told me that there's someone who's rung up the court after seeing the newspaper, and she has worked in Mary Stopes in a senior level, and she has personally seen the bullying and racism at very close quarters. And I feel very strongly about the vulnerability of doctors, especially ethnic doctors, because if an allegation is made about a doctor, even if it's just an allegation, the GMC takes action and the doctor gets suspended, and the suspension could take 1 year, 1.5 years, till the matter is settled in court. And during this time, he is not able to work. He becomes a victim in the sense that everyone thinks otherwise of him, and they could lose their confidence, they could lose their working capacity. And this is, I think, something which needs to be looked into.
Well, Mary Stopes International have denied any allegations that there was any racist culture directed towards Dr Sharma. In a statement, they say, "We employ staff from all ethnic backgrounds and all members of staff are equally and highly valued. We've cooperated fully with the police throughout this investigation. We are fully committed to giving our clients the highest standards of care." The Bank of England's just announced it's leaving interest rates on hold. They'll remain at 0.5%. It follows 6 months of successive reductions, which put the cost of borrowing at a record low. A teenage girl has been repeatedly punched and racially abused on a bus in Wigan. The 19-year-old had got onto the vehicle in Lee and got into an argument with 2 teenage girls. One of them punched her several times. The attacker and her friend got off the bus in Bickershaw just after the Tamar pub. It's believed there were 3 or 4 other passengers there who police now want to speak to. A 10-year-old boy has been arrested after brandishing a knife in front of pupils at a school playground in Whalley Range. It happened last month, but details have only just been confirmed by police. No charges have yet been brought, and the identity of the boy and the school can't be reported. The police officer caught on video pushing a man to the floor who later died during the G20 protests in London is to be interviewed by the police watchdog. The Independent Police Complaints Commission's been watching these pictures, which were filmed shortly before newspaper seller Ian Tomlinson had a heart attack and died. The officer has now come forward to identify himself. Now, what are your plans for the Easter weekend? If you're on holiday, you're in good company. Hundreds of thousands of people are preparing to jet away. Despite the recession, the number of people flying from Manchester Airport is only slightly down on last year. Ben Bland's been there to wave them off.
And so it begins, the Great Easter Getaway. These are some of the 205,000 people flying from Manchester Airport over the weekend. That's 5,000 fewer than last Easter. Many are heading beyond Europe because the pound is so weak against the euro, though Spain is clearly still a favourite.
We're off to Lanzarote for
Lanzarote.
a week, yeah.
Seems like a popular choice. Why did you choose it?
Just the guaranteed sun, really, just the beach, you know, get away with the kids.
And why did you choose Lanzarote?
Well, my daughter, it was a surprise for me, so they've taken me.
Going to the Dominican.
Lovely. How long for?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Why did you choose the Dominican Republic?
Mainly because of the currency and just because it's sunny and warm there. We just wanted a break.
Where are you going on holiday?
To the Caribbean.
Caribbean.
That's right.
How long are you going for?
2 weeks.
Are you excited? And have you packed your case ready? Yeah. The top 5 destinations for this Easter are Tenerife, Alicante, Egypt, Chicago and Morocco. But with many people having less cash to splash, weekend city breaks have also become more popular to places like Toulouse, Amsterdam and Dublin.
What we've seen as well is that places like Morocco, Chicago, those longer haul destinations are really popular with people. Canary Islands obviously still popular with a lot of people, but the pound is quite weak against the euro at the moment, so I think that's affecting people's decisions.
On board that plane are just some of the 200,000 people who are flying from Manchester Airport for the Great Easter Getaway this year. And if you're going to be one of them, just a quick reminder that hand luggage restrictions still apply. You can have up to 100 millilitres of each liquid, but they've all got to fit into a clear plastic bag like this one, which you can bring your own or buy them for £1 from Terminal 1. And if you are going away this Easter, wherever you're off to, have a great time. Ben Bland, Channel M News.
Time now to take a look at the lunchtime sports headlines with those details. Here's Sam Goodman.
Thank you very much, James. Well, Manchester City are in UEFA Cup action this evening when they face the Bundesliga's joint leaders Hamburg in Germany. The Blues captain Richard Dunn believes City have nothing to fear heading into the sold-out Nordbank Arena, despite their disappointing Premier League away form. City are the favourites, though, to win the UEFA Cup next month in Istanbul, and manager Mark Hughes is hoping to be in Europe once again next season.
Well, ideally we would like to go all the way this year, and we still got a real chance of getting in the Europa League next year. by virtue of our league position. Obviously, we've got a number of games left, but we're in the mix for probably 7th place, so we'll keep that going. But yeah, ideally, we would love to win the trophy if we can, but we're up against good opposition on Thursday night, so we're hoping that we get a good positive result and then we can bring them back to Eastlands. We're going to have a full house there, and we'll have a great European night, hopefully.
Wayne Rooney is a doubt for Manchester United's trip to Sunderland on Saturday. The striker picked up a rib injury during the game against Porto on Tuesday, while the Wigan striker Amir Zaki will return to the JJB today after going AWOL from the club. The Egypt international failed to return to Wigan last week after being away on international duty, and Zaki insists he has no personal problems with manager Steve Bruce. Well, in Rugby League, it's one of the biggest matches in the Super League of the season this evening as Wigan face St Helens. New signing Martin Gleeson makes his Warriors debut, and there are returns for Pat Richards, Stuart Fielden and Gareth Hock, but Carl Price will have to wait another day to take on brother Leon after being left out of the squad. And in boxing, Amir Khan has confirmed his next fight will be against Ukraine's Andreas Kotelnik on June the 27th for the WBA light welterweight title. Khan will step up a division for the world title fight, and a British venue is yet to be confirmed. And finally, tonight on Talking Sharks at 7 o'clock is an in-depth interview with the departing Philippe Saint-André, where he explains his decision to leave Sale after 5 years.
Fantastic relation with Brian Kennedy, Ian Blackhurst, and I think it's good also. Kingsley was, I was my assistant for 4 years and a half. Now he's in charge, and also I think, the new staff with Jason Robinson to come back. I think it's fantastic for the club. After, of course, it's a credit crunch and it's difficult, but after the team will be still strong next year. There are still a lot of players, first choice players stay. And after guys like Lionel for Chabal, they told me in September. So also if I was staying here, they wanted to go back to France for family problems. So in September, they told me that Lionel for and Chabal, we must go back to France. So the club knew. So it's not they going back because I'm leaving. This is completely is not true,
And that's all the sport for now. Join me again later this evening for some more.
Thanks very much, Sam. That's in the early evening news from 5 o'clock tonight. There's much more to come on the lunchtime news. We speak to the parents of a young girl with cancer who's lost her fight for life this week, and a look ahead to the proms in the park coming to one part of Greater Manchester.
Salford is going to be a really prominent part of this year's national celebration.
Welcome back to Channel M's Lunchtime News. Let's go back to our top story now. The country's top anti-terror officer has resigned after his blunder that led to a series of raids here in Greater Manchester. 12 people are being questioned after he turned up to Downing Street with secret briefing notes clearly on show. Few details have been released about exactly what and who has been under surveillance and where the threat was targeted against. Terrorism expert John Tong's been giving us his analysis.
I think the big concern really for the people of Manchester is the nature of Al-Qaeda and Islamic terrorism. In the past, when the IRA bombed the city of Manchester, for example, in 1996, civilians were spared. Those terrorists had political wings and you could engage them in a peace process. You can't do that with this form of terrorism. It wouldn't spare civilians. These will be no warning bomb attacks on targets which are populated by civilians. And that's why the police are so desperate to intercept these groups before they can strike.
The parents of a schoolgirl from Bury have been speaking of their loss after her death. Ruby Stinson lost her battle with a brain tumour on Tuesday. Her mum and dad have been telling Nina Warhurst what an inspiration she was and how important hospices are to families like them.
She was a lovely girl. She was very, she was happy all the time. She cheered everyone up and...
Very caring.
Yeah, she was.
Very caring.
Yes. She had to go through a lot. She had a lot of treatment.
Yeah, never bothered her at all,
no,
did it?
No, she was great.
She was just always happy, and throughout when she was ill, she was just always smiling and always happy and dancing around and laughing, and she was just really happy.
When Ruby was just 3 years old, her parents took her to the doctors because she was limping. They didn't expect the diagnosis to be a brain tumour. That was in February 2007, and Ruby was given no more than 6 months to live. But she battled on until Tuesday morning, when it was time for her family to say goodbye.
It was the waiting was the hardest, and we were told that that is one of the hardest things every parent has said. It's the watching and waiting, because although you don't want them to go, in a way it's like a release, isn't it? If they're at peace, you want them to be at peace and no more suffering.
Rex and Joanne say they took enormous strength from the excellent care that Ruby received, especially at Derrien House Children's Hospice in Chorley, where they've asked for donations to be sent.
Obviously, this last week, while we're we're waiting for her to die, effectively, it's just everything's done for you. You've got all your food, your cup of tea. You can treat it as your house, effectively, but she's got the attention of all the staff and the medication, and it's just a really nice place. And then once it happens, they know exactly what to do and put you at ease and look after her. It's a brilliant place, yeah.
And to what extent are they reliant on donations from the public?
It's been announced Proms in the Park is coming to Bewell Hill. The area will play host to musicians in September in celebration of the annual event.
It feels great to be back in Bewell Hill Park. We did the show last year on the most beautiful evening you can imagine. So let's hope we have it again, and to be linked up to all the other proms in the parks around the country is very exciting. But we've always hankered after having a very local set of roots, and Salford's offered us of late, and we've spent 2 years working very closely with schools, care centres, all sorts of places we've been to within Salford, just with bits of the orchestra and, talked to them about what we do, played a bit, and it's been a fantastic experience. Sometimes, some of the kids in Salford have had a chance to come to the Bridgewater Hall and perform on the Bridgewater Hall stage, and then we'll go back to them and perform in their schools. So it's been a very exciting sharing of ideas and music.
The last night of the proms, it's a great national celebration, and Salford is going to be a really prominent part of this year's national celebration.
Well, if you've got plans for the long weekend off, no doubt you're wondering what the weather's going to be like. Michelle Eagleton's here now with the forecast.
Well, this morning we did have an awful lot of rain around Greater Manchester, and it did dry up as we headed towards midday. And in fact, we are looking forward to a really nice, bright Thursday afternoon and evening. In fact, temperatures quite mild, highs of 14 and 15 across the region. But are they going to stay like that? Well, let's take a look at the 5-day forecast for you, because Good Friday and Saturday isn't looking too great right now. You are going to need an umbrella if you are heading about and about for the Easter weekend. But Easter Sunday and Bank Holiday Monday are going to have some sunshine.
This is Channel M, our top stories. The country's most senior anti-terror police officer has resigned after the blunder which led to yesterday's terror raids here in Manchester. Bob Quick arrived at Downing Street with secret briefing notes visible in front of photographers. It led to an armed operation that saw 12 people arrested who are still being questioned. A doctor cleared of sexually abusing patients at an abortion clinic in Manchester spoken on TV for the first time about his ordeal. Narendra Sharma's exclusively told Channel M how the case has ruined his life. Those are today's headlines, and that was the Lunchtime News. We'll have more on all those stories in our early evening news with Andy Crane from 5 tonight, but from me and the Lunchtime team, bye-bye for now.